Hey guys, it's 30 March. It's 4:37 here in Arkansas. It's kind of a lousy day as far as the vibe goes. So I'm back inside early, and I want to make a quick video that ties a few things together concerning the dark side of the Force. There really is a dark side. So to express it in a way, you have to reduce it to frequency management of attention. And what occurred at Astroworld last year was an example of very low frequency um, management from the moon through the architecture that was set up to cause chaos at Astroworld and Travis Scott, and we know people died. So, in addition to that, there's a program that was channeled by Sam the Illusionist, who channels angels as a pastime. But last year, late spring or so, my video is 8 months and 1 week ago, so add not much more than that to his original channeling. So the topic is Men in Black, and the specific subject is John Podesta, who I called out when Sam did his channeling. You know, the angels don't call out people by name quite often, unless they're permitted to. So we are allowed to tell the rest of the story about how it must be going on here because we're living it. And in the Men in Black program, very simply is, don't take offense to this, just wake up. If you have negative blood, negative, that means that the other humans who are on Nibiru, who came down, David Icke being a good guy and other ones being bad. We're all crossbred. There's Draconians and Aryans. So do your tapestry as to how you're going to learn to be here now. So John Podesta could be, I mean, if you had to choose a body to be, you got to go with Satan, of the incarnated guy, like the right side of his head. And I'm just going to show you why. You know, he's John Podesta on the left side, and Donald Trump is Donald Trump on his left side. He's Julius Caesar on the right, going way back. And Podesta, who knows? I'm just saying, I go with correlations of behavior and madness. And we know Lucifer's gone, and you don't see the embodiment of Lucifer running around here in truth, because we're going to find out that wasn't Lucifer's job. Lucifer's job was to set up the moon in the chaos, and when the Nibiru took off, kind of angelically take charge of that with everything outside of Jupiter. And Lucifer is coming back. So we have Satan, who's been running this madhouse. I'm just going to offer that it gets a little bit difficult to encapsulate things at the solar system level, because you got George Bush, who's king of the dark sun, and he was Republican, and he was Nazi. So he's Aryan, but he's Draconian. Then you have Trump, who's Merovingian, and a little bit of Julius Caesar going on with him, and some Nazi by his birthright to the Reich. So he's hooked in many different ways. And he signed the Abraham Accord, and him and Clinton and Podesta, and they got stuff going on that you're not in the meeting for. But I want to focus on Tony Podesta, because what occurs is when a human being has negative blood type, depending upon the coincidence of the intercourse, some of which is arranged, some of it is by destiny. Let's go with Prince Harry. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt in his marriage. And he's got a movie actress, and she's illuminated, and they took off, and they're in Canada, and whatever's going on there is going on. But he's Invictus. He's kind of a George Bushian. We want to admire the crippled and make them play for us, and we'll be nice about it. So, what can you say? That's how it is. His uncle was Albert. They all eat humans. Now Diana was a JFK-esque, let's kill her in the mix. And William and Harry are a part of that. So Harry's one generation removed. He checked out ceremonially with the Queen, and he's moved over to her Canadian Empire with the understanding, oh, we're divided now. So, okay, the audience has got a National Enquirer story on them. And I don't take anything away from any of them. I hope they all truth up. It can't be too hard for them because everybody knows they do it already. See, it's going to be easy for them. They've been outed. So in the case of Podesta, I'm going to flip around. That was my video on BitChute. You can look for it. There's a lot of Men in Black videos. As you can see, I'm Hillbilly Mac. That's the cover. I drew a bunch of things on it. It's got 209 hits. And it's not hard to get to using the search engine that's up here. Or you can go to my channel and cruise on back, and it's 8 months back. I got a shit ton of videos there, but they're all good. So let's get into Podesta to tell how it occurs real fast at a macro level now. Let's choose his trip. He made a trip to New Zealand after Trump got in. He was on his grand global, him and Hillary, they kind of go south to get proximity. And Kerry had been down there to do a climate change check in Antarctica through MacGruber. And this guy flew down. He got as far down as New Zealand and ran around that island doing God knows what with his planning. So when he was down there, he tripped out this guy who proceeded to go anti-Muslim psycho, school shooter, shot the mosque up and killed a bunch of Muslims. And that, of course, triggered the Dobermans over in, Mahmoud al-Sisi country up in Norway, and where you paint the picture, they're going to kill you. So you shoot them, they're just killing white people. And they just exacerbate that. And Podesta ringmasters it. Whatever the evil term of the Ascended Mastery School, this fucking guy teaches it. So if you want a free course, he's your guy. So what happens and what Sam channeled is that if you have negative blood and you're the child of, let's go back to Canada and Prince Harry, and they have a kid, and the kid is a normal kid or whatever, so to speak, go elsewhere, Hollywood, somewhere where those that are accelerated with negative blood type, because to an extent you've been accelerated to not feel quite so glass half full, but you can win that presidential fitness competition and laugh it up at the other guys and not with them, and be the guy with the other three who hang out, and then they're profiled. And if you got ADD, you're in the sorcerer's database. Pharmacy is sorcery, so you're in it on the backside as a child or an adult along the way. So you've got classes of school shooters, just to abbreviate this, because a kid isn't going to go to Mars for 3 years and learn how to meditate. The ROTC kid that did what he did, went his way in Parkland. But there were adults that ran through the building who were RoboCopy, nail it, nail it, nail it on the device. They are told, you're going to play on the team, you wear a device. It was a 3-year training program. Angels are extraterrestrials, many are human. You don't need to know, many do. they're there in their dream state when they are vacated down here, one way or another, or they're actually physically there with a stuntman sitting in for the stuntman who can answer the phone, drone out, tired at the door, be on vacation, whatever. It's a cover plan for 3 years, so the human, the Hollywood person who went into retreat and took a break, comes back full up. There are people that come to mind that may well have had this experience, and they were black. So, it's not our job to hate anybody, because you get led, wittingly or unwittingly, all of us, through the Mossad. And I'm going to tie it together, so please be patient. So when a man in black comes back from Mars, he's ready to fire it up. And this man is the chairman of the DNC, and he knows how to fire it up. I just gave you one example of many that are synchronized with the news to combat. In this case, if you were deep enough to see it, there's real combat going on with Trump from a policy standpoint. And Trump will say, yeah, that's right, but he's full of shit, because it was a gun thing. When the school shooters run to shoot children, the message is, we don't need guns, and this guy wants to take your guns. We all know it. So Trump gets the chance of being the gun guy. That's what's left that he really wants, because it's oils and guns. So it's an anti-Trump act that's illuminated, and children are killed, and the one guy whose daughter is killed, all I can say is goodness knows. Pat Tillmans are everywhere, who knows? But the father of that female, young female that was terminated, and it must have happened, was to an extent illuminated in his pro-Trump advocacy. Of course, he loved his daughter, and he was sort of over the emotional problems, be able to get on TV and keep with a narrative. So, judge that as you will. So let's, I want to back off this and go to a couple of other things. This is really interesting, but it's not now. Okay, here we go. So this is the BitChute drill on him. But before we go there, I just had a little personal mosaic that I put together. What the hell is it? Here we go. So here's our man. Here's John Podesta. Very quickly. That's a picture in his house of a consumption. Just know that we're consumed. We consume and we are consumed. So he thinks he's really smart. Look at this. I mean, this is the chairman of the Democratic National Party, ladies and gentlemen. Let's tie this together. Here's the painting. You know, this came, here's the, it's not even authenticating, but I didn't write that, so it came with the picture. Here's him. Here's the picture in the background. This is like a Time magazine article. There's Podesta with the full Monty showing it to you. And I'm saying this is Satan going, cut deeply into the middle finger and eat the pain. You know, Epstein is Epstein. There's a competition going on for who's who in the zoo. Go, he's Italian, Epstein's a Jew, they're all illuminated. I don't want to be racist or anything like that, so we just covered this picture pretty quick. I'm impressed with myself. Now, what I'm going to do is pause this. Alright, so this timeline of BitChute results on Podesta kind of allows me to speak so easily about a couple of topics. And you're going to be entertained by this. So, you see Comey up at the top, and recall that in 2016, in the summer, the FBI, which never does what I'm about to say, closed the case without making a referral to the Attorney General about Hillary being innocent. Good job on the bleaching. We got no problem. And it was put to bed. Everybody said, what? Oh, what? And then October came, And you notice Trump didn't go, he went crazy over Obama's birth certificate, but Donald Trump should have been getting every general in the military that loves our country to say, look, we need to just take this down right now. I mean, that's the right answer at that point. But they were spying on Trump, allegation-wise, through the FISA system, and knew what he was up to, and Obama was getting the morning briefing on what was going on with Trump. So this guy ends up coming out in October, right before the election, the big man, to tell everybody, hey, we got a problem. We got an issue that's causing us to re-examine Hillary Clinton and electronic stuff and messaging. And it was due to Anthony Weiner's laptop. So that upset the apple cart. And the issue was, the reason he had to cough that up is because the New York City Police Department were the guys that got custody of Weiner's laptop, which was a totally unexpected trip in the favor of Trump. It was a trip. Look at it as the guy who's on the sidelines sticking his leg out as the guy's going for an unassisted touchdown, and somebody just gets so upset they stick their leg out and they trip the guy and he falls. So now the flag is thrown and they gotta fucking see what's going on. It's a review. Oh, everything's okay. And they have the election. Well, the leg sticking out was the New York City Police Department that got custody of the laptop and exploited it. And a lot of information came out of it that's horrific on the dark side, to a point where I've seen the beheading of the George Bush victim with the orange jumpsuits that occurred somewhere in Iraq. And I go with first party testimony, and I worked on the black side, and I know that when you walk into the triple secret handshake where they will blow somebody up that's CIA tied, they had a big poster of all the guys that got caught. They had bags on their face then, black faces, but we got them. Delta Force got them, not SEAL Team 6. United States Army Delta Force is the greatest force in the world, and they're going to do it. So, that's truth. And the Rangers, were right there with them. The Rangers were the guys that snuff everything out over in Iraq. The U.S. Army Rangers did that. So, we're good at what we do. What's his ass? The guy that ran the CIA, the Army, smart, 101st. I'm really smart, I got the doctrine. What's his name? That guy, Petraeus. Okay, West Point, smart guy. I'm not going to get distracted with him. I'm just going to say that the black side did the job there by whack-a-mole the bad people. You take the head off everybody that comes up on social media, you go kill them. Suddenly nobody's got a message anymore. So you win that way. And I was over there, and I know that's what we did. We hunted them down and we got them. And then they got terminated because we put a plan in place to terminate them and get them off the conveyor belt and not stack them up at Abu Ghraib or Kandahar, where they could all run around again someday. So at any rate, viewers, because of that situation on the top, Bozo Boy, Ivy League, him and the independent investigator, like we're hockey teammates with Kerry. They're all these clowns from up in Illuminati Town, Boston area, writ large. So here's Hillary, and they're very special together. Let's get in tight and draw the connections here. This lady right here, Deplorable McAllister, ran off YouTube. She's probably the best. If you want to be entertained, this woman's off the charts, but she's a Trump zombie, and she's fucking lost with all her inside baseball. I love her, but she's fucking lost, plain and simple. All right, so And I'm sorry if I do speak French, so if anybody hears this that speaks French, that's why. So yeah, look at these titles. Torturing a little boy. So we're going to get to, this is my video. Look, I made it. How about that? Just another Podesta video. Not only me abusing kids. I want to get to, okay, so there's the House Intel Committee. There was a good video that addressed him. I gotta pause this again. Okay, I'm sorry, I got confused because the video, I had used the same picture in my video. So it was actually this video right here that I wanted to address your attention to. So check it out. Podesta's got some disturbing audio acquired from Anthony Weiner's laptop. Now, Weiner's laptop was a big thing as far as what came out. And it really pours a bunch of dirt out on everything to out these guys, because I guess it's got to be told one way or the other, and then they don't care and they live with it anyway. So the guy who caused Weiner to expose himself is a man named Derrick Broze, who was an early part of my tribulation venture because of what he brought to the table on YouTube. Likely for me, because of where I went and where he is and whatever. I forgive him already, wherever he thinks he's going. Because we all want to go together, and I'm here to help everybody. So, he dresses in black to this day, and he was the guy who caused the Weiner incident to happen. And he got beat up, knocked out, and put in jail for over 3 years. And now he's back. So, he goes by Enoch, and he's very scripturally oriented, and he's a good man. You know, his father is very weird. And I hope he hears this. So, there's a piece there that needs to be explored. And whatever's going on with communications, that's all I'm going to say. So, what I'll tell you is, things speed up and things slow down, and then they get real steady. And in the case of that prototype of a man in black who gets recruited and gets, you know, I always stood up on the internet when all the people came out and said, hey, be careful. I'm like, what do you know? I heard everything he said. It's all good. And I started to see the back off points of not fitting in with where he was going. But he's got to go where we're going. So Derrick Broze, hear my voice. I'll link you to my product. And I hope you hear me, because there's nothing wrong unless you want to make it wrong. I'm just explaining the truth to you and your lovely wife who came to be with you through thick and thin. You decided to do that, and I hope you live forever on this earth. So anyway, back to Podesta, you know, and thanks to Derrick Broze. Let me thank him. First of all, without him being on Twitter to nail Weiner's Weiner, it would have been Hillary and this. So we would have been done. You know, we would have been a hamburger that only got cooked on one side of the grill without being flipped properly. So that's what it boils down to. You know, you think you're helping Trump, and you think you're helping God, and you think you're helping Enoch, and then there's no forgiveness, and where are you going from there? You're in the Bible, and it's the Mossad, and just be don't be unwitting of that fact, because I believe you when you say, Mossad, my ass. That's Derrick Broze. He would say that, and I would believe him. And I, you know, if there was any punches to be thrown anywhere, I'd be throwing them with him. But we're not supposed to do that anymore. You just admit, hey, maybe I did that. All right, fucking Derrick, you want to go against that? I know I didn't go to Mars, but I do know that I helped establish QAnon by doing relational database searching in fucking early 90s. Not too long after everything got stood up at US SOCOM. I worked there for a long time, and that was the command and control of the global war on terror since '99. And I helped do a lot of things there, to include help Pete Shoemaker develop a future concepts thought exploitation system to push ideas around the world. I helped do that, so let's compare notes. But I did it because I was wanting to win. Just like you, man. Just like Breitbart. Derek Brose was the best friend of Andrew Breitbart, so go look at him and what he was all about. You just pick a side. You're a Jesuit, and you know how to fight. Derek knows how to fight electronically. I wouldn't want to be opposed to him to an extent. Because he knows a lot, and he's good at what he does. He introduced himself as an anonymous guy who came out, and he really wants everybody to sort of be caught up to him. And so he's all excited about, hey, I'm ahead of it. Here we go. And then he's waiting. What's happening next? Who's here? Who's there? John Keane. It's another story. And back to Podesta. Where the hell did I want to go with? There's other stuff to be said about this. Cretin. Hang on. Okay, so I'm on an article that I had discovered earlier on Podesta. And I guess I can put it as a link to this description. It's up here in ibankcoin.com. You can see the whole thing, but at any rate, it's from back in 2016, and this up here in paragraph 1 kind of talks about the ties to Kanye West. So right there, you're into 808, the Bilderbergs. We know we're into high level satanic stuff. As soon as you see Kanye West's name, he's just in it. Okay, and from there, the transition is to gold and Trump and these other things. But then I'd like to say something very important. This guy is born and raised in Chicago, and he's Bill Clinton's chief of staff, top advisor to Obama, and Hillary's campaign manager. I mean, that's where Obama came from, and a lot of strange things happened occult-wise out of the greater Chicago area. I have a good friend who's a special forces guy who basically solved the GWAT from an end strength. How many helicopter blades do we have to put around the world to fight every known terrorist group that there is? And that man, he's my brother, and he's now transitioned gender-wise through a gender identity disorder, and it has something to do, trust me, because he delivered the product to Dick Cheney and was summoned by the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, that lispy, tall white man from back then, post 9/11, early 2000, the Chief of Staff of the Army, the guy that talked with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, asked Dave, hey, go give this to Cheney. And he did. He briefed him and he delivered it to him. So it's like success. And then Dave went his way, and he's now Diane, and he's a great person that knows what they're doing, shall we say. They know very well what they're doing. And they know very well what they're doing. These clowns. So, Dave was roommates with a reporter from the Chicago Sun-Tribune. Oh boy, how'd that happen? And Dave was a military guy who was an armor officer, just like Timothy McVeigh. So, you get assessed. What are your scores? What's your blood type? How you doing? Boy, do we have a mission for you. Now, Dave Schroeder didn't go anywhere off planet, to my knowledge. And I was in touch with him, and I know how he operates. through the end of his time at SOCOM. The guy was in charge of the strategic fucking planning process. He wrote it. And it was good. Schroeder knew what he was doing. And he said that Bill Burgess doesn't have his shit anchored to the earth, and Bill Burgess is a judge. We all work together. William Burgess, he's down in Florida right now, and you don't want to be in front of that guy with alcohol on your breath, because you'll go down. He'll make you do push-ups in puddles, and he'd probably laugh at you if he knew you, but if he didn't and he thought you were an asshole, you got a problem. I don't know what his judicial career is, but Burgess was, the guy was a Spetsnaz guy. He wrote a book, and he ended up at SOCOM as a deep thinker for Wayne Downing. And the man put together the freaking SODARS process. No, it was not SODARS. That was the debriefing system. He put together the targeting system. How to take down the target. Carver. The criticality, accessibility, vulnerability. I don't know what E and fuck it up. There's no F. But you figure out how to pull the plug on the right thing and you mess it all up for 4 days. Burgess had a system for that. And we had all the embassies and CAD drawings and all the stuff. The U.S. is good at what we do. But you got these idiots on top. This man took, look, go here, chairman of the DNC. He ropes down Bernie. He hoists the flag for Hillary, the good ship Hillary. He knows Trump is on the other side. But they're going to Afghanistan to piss everybody off. Him and Biden, the substitute. Okay, COVID, yeah, Biden, whoop. Trump does warp speed. They're doing handoffs so fast it's like a freaking hockey game, live and in color, making it happen. So when we leave Afghanistan with all our shit, after 20 years and $1 trillion later, here's your man right here. He did it. Look at him. Look at him. He's not apologizing to anybody. This guy, him and his brother, they're said to have done in that young blonde out in England from the UK. That little adorable girl that disappeared from mommy and daddy. And here's his house full of all these effed up pictures. When you analyze these, look at this. Oh, isn't this brilliant? This is what you have on, for all I know, this could be Anderson Cooper in one of these shots. Because that man all hunts down with Honey Boo Boo. They're all sick. Pizzagate, all the code words that are used, they're all sick. And these poor people, that have to spend their lives one way or another because of these dastardly bastards that we supposedly voted for leadership positions. This is all real. I wish I could say I kind of CGI'd this whole flippin' thing for you so you could say, look, he's talking and I hear him, but I haven't heard enough yet. Okay, you're never going to hear enough about anything because you want to stay right where you're at. I don't. I'm done with normal. I'm just lifting off and I'm trying to show you this is why. It's a little bit boring, not so much. We love it. We haven't gotten to experience what it's supposed to be, but the way we do it is kind of same old, same old. Inflation, depression, and tolls and taxes and the next piece of bad news that they orchestrate. It's astounding. Just like Thomas said, the man does not get enough credit. It was the best paragraph I read coming out of QHHT. I'll have to put it as I can't put it as the cover to this video. I've got so many videos to make about all the angels and all the families of Yeshua. All these gospels. Never mind, the Sophia Code is what it is. That's contemporary. That's Nostradamus' quatrains kind of being locked back in for everybody. What Kia Ra has channeled. She's a special lady. And it's not the first time that the information's been made available for us. It's happened predecessorily because our Creator's always been there. And it's taken a while for these guys to get this crazy. if you listen to the digital side of it, and that everything is matrixed out and hijacked, and if you like games, welcome to the control of your imagination. And there's somebody up there at the upper dimension that knows that you like to jiggle that shit back and forth, and you'll be in a dream state. So, that's how it is. And the time now is to get clarity on it all, because it's still the same. You know, it's not time to have a heart attack, Nabal. It's still the same. They're coming to eat you. The leadership, the current leadership are all cannibals. Surprise. So, I guess TV, the fact that TV is successful, keeps you off the menu. But they need a big population to control, to make for a good harvest. And that's just describing it in a way. Because what's happening is, as the balls pop around on the pool table, you're one of them. You took the shot, you banged around, and you rolled right where you're at right now, through the Council of Nine. Vaccinated, artificiated. You vote, you think you vote, you think. You think? What's your opinion? I guarantee you somebody can tell you a different one, and they might be right. You can make an argument, the art of debate. You can play the role of the opposite guy and argue for the issue that you really oppose. And by the time you've gotten done studying it, you're like, fuck, you can see his point. I can argue for him, because we've done it on the debate stage. Orators have done it to make their points. So what's the debate? What's the confusion about any issue? If you start with love, it becomes so unbelievable that it's like, yeah, all right, you've told me enough. But everything's alive, and it's us, in a form of an elementary thing to an advanced thing. And we're the most advanced. But do not discredit densities below you. That's a mistake of a voter. So it's like that. Stop brushing with fluoride. They figured it out. The dentists. Do they all know this? I don't know. You go to a school and they teach you what fluoride does for the teeth. Who cares about the pineal gland? The other doctor worries about that. You go to a peniologist, don't you? Sir, you're going to need to see a peniologist. What? You think John McCain had his pineal gland operated on, and that's why he died, and he went over to ISIS, and they lit up the Statue of Liberty? You need to see a peniologist. Oh, well, I don't. John Podesta is taking care of quite a few pineal glands, making his stuff happen at very proficient levels. And you got to go back with him. Kissinger preceded him, though. And Henry had the wobble with George coming out of World War II. So you can just keep tracing it back. And we're living through it. So we're going to make it. Why do I know what I'm talking about? Because I do. Because I seek truth. And I'm a vegan. Plus eggs and cheese. And I like my mineral water. You know, you make smart choices. I'm a great cook. I must have been out there on the wagon train, because I could throw some shit together. And y'all, Gabby Johnson, when you're hungry, it's gonna be good. Is it not? Everybody who's been in the military knows that when you're hungry, that shit's good. What's your favorite sea ration? Man, oh man. Then they got rid of the sea rats. And Bush did 9/11. And really, they're not related. They did have some food stuff called LRPs. Long range humma humma. It was a big half a pounder. Add water, and if you're hungry, that stuff's gonna go down. Put it in your canteen cup, boil out water, and freeze your ass off. My son had some great stories from Ranger School. You know, that kid is something else. He's told me stories from Ranger School. You couldn't do what he did. He's my height, but he's built like a fire plug, and the kid he's a god man. Kyle McCormick, promote immediately. Get out, Kyle. Unfortunately, you got to get out. Go teach Chinese. Learn Chinese. Teach the violin to them. We need to get together. One race. With the skills to do it. Knowing how to hug somebody. Then you speak their language. You play some violin for them. They'll sit down with you and say, okay, what should we do at our party since we've been doing a certain thing? You get some innovation. We can teach that in school also and integrate it so we learn the same kind of music and some commonality that gives us just another way to peel back communism to the Tiger Woods. You know, the Buick was a very popular car in pre-communist China because the royalty was interested in that particular brand, and Tiger Woods somehow was associated with it. So that's a whole nother story about them that people generally don't know. Pre-communist China tends to have a more royal, dynasty-related history to it. Kind of separate from everything else that's going on, and everything else has changed with the Kazakhs and how things really were 5,000 years ago, because shit gets buried and you dig out the towns, and there was a deluge, so there was pre-Bible. And John Podesta is a master manipulator of negative energy. That's what it boils down to. You trace it up to the top, and who knows how to do things. I just showed you a long video that's too long now about this guy and what he's all about on TV. On TV. And you're taken there. So it's time to pay attention to the right things. See the lie. The talking head is lying to you unless he says, if this is true, General Miley's talking to the Chinese. And then Levin goes, yeah, if this is true. So that they double slammed it. So it's all winky dink crap. Don't watch any of it because it doesn't matter. It's got nothing to do with your ascension and who you really are. See, that's what you should be doing. I just explained to you all this madness, and it's one guy, Podesta. He's got a brother named Tony, and they go for it. The whole Pizzagate thing. Man, you know, I got a really good friend with a name a lot like mine that seemed to be up on a lot of interesting things very early on with ideas that just go, where the hell are you hearing that? Creedmoor, use Creedmoor and some other huge facility is massive. Here comes Wuhan, fellas. And just a lot of these other things that are known about because I'm a truther. So I'm out there putting out alt, YouTube, 9/11 really happened stuff. And William was throwing out Pizzagate as a legitimate child trafficking, abuse, human trafficking with children. And the code name Pizzagate. And my friend was aware enough of it to say, oh, that's all been, debunked. Really? Well, I thought it was pretty far out front. Even discussing it. You go back to William's timeline on